Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Potting with Shellon. I am Shellon and today I have something nice and special for you. As you realize I'm not home and you're probably hearing the breeze and whatnot and you're seeing a fellow in my background here, right? I would like to introduce you to Mr. Errol Chang. He is an administrator in the Bonsai Society of Trinidad and Tobago, and today we're going to have a conversation with Errol and dig up in a plant and watch two thing. You know that kind of scene. So again, welcome to Potting with Shellon. Like, subscribe, share, and as we just say, let we just go. So we're gonna have a conversation with Errol, and considering that I am breeze up here, nice boy. Considering that I am a novice in the bonsai world, let's direct questions to Errol and have that conversation on bonsai, when he would have started, and you know how his growth has been going within that art form, because bonsai in and of itself is an art form. So Errol, we're here. So you want to kind of give us a little bit of insight. What we want to know is a little bit of insight into the bonsai and how you got into bonsai. But first, let me start with when you started in bonsai.
Well, I started back in '97.
Wow.
I was always into plants.
Yeah.
Then I met a friend, so we started to talk and wanted to say we're interested in bonsai, but we didn't know where to go or who to go by.
Right.
So we learned on our own, but back in those days, it didn't have something called internet.
Yeah, internet and YouTube and
Right.
and
It
all
didn't
them.
have So everything was go in the bookstore and get a book.
Yeah.
Order a book from the bookstore.
Wow.
But it took us 6 or 7 years before we found the actual Bonsai Society.
Right. Wow. So you all would have already started experimenting and learning things via books and whatnot, and then it took you all a good 6 years before you started the society. So you are one of the founding members of the society, the Trinidad and Tobago. No, you're not.
Not that first society.
Oh, it had a society before that.
From before. That one is Bonsai Society of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Right now, our society is Bonsai T&T.
Right.
The same founders who formed the first society formed the second society. So all the founders are over into the second society.
Right. I get
right
you.
Now, the first society is sort of quiet.
Yeah.
Because the president passed away many years ago.
Right. Wow. So, guys, I ain't doing no maths here for you. Or you could understand how many years he has been into bonsai. And one of the things, having this conversation, because ideally what we're having here is a conversation. I remember when I got into it when the pandemic basically started, right? Honestly, I was never really a big plant person, per se. You know, I grew up around plants. And I got into it, and I remember meeting you and having that conversation, and I was all gung-ho on, I'm gonna do desert roses. And one of the pieces of advice that you gave was that, don't relegate yourself to one particular species, because as you grow, you're going to discover more. And truth be told, I'm discovering a lot. Now, we're gonna eventually look around his bonsai garden. I don't want to call this I don't know to call it a garden.
A madhouse.
A madhouse. But hey, that's some amazing things here. So tell me about the species that you started with and how you transitioned into what you have now, and what would be your favorite species to work with.
I started out with Ficus Benjamin,
Right.
Ficus Tulica, Snow Rose, Jamalinas, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And gradually, some of the plants I didn't, how you say it didn't fall to me.
Right.
So I moved on and started experimenting with harder plants, more exotic. So I phased away from a lot of the
Easier material. Right.
And moved over, with the years gone by, I just moved over to exotics
Right.
and started collecting and propagating as well.
And that's a big deal, because I have not been propagating as much. My growth has been acquiring smaller trees. I mean, granted, I will go by the park, or I see something in a patch of bush, I take it, and I try my hand at different things. But propagation and the various levels of propagation is something that I have not been into. How was it learning the propagation of items?
Well, you do a lot of research,
Right.
keep trying, don't give up.
Try something.
Just keep trying. Whether the cuttings die or
Mm-hmm.
you get 1 out of 100, don't give up.
Yeah.
Just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Then you'll realize you start to get better and better at it.
So going back to what we was asking. So with all of the things that you're doing, is there one particular species that you have an affinity for, or you don't necessarily have one particular species that you love?
I would say junipers and podocarpus.
Well, I try a couple junipers, my friends. Let me come into the camera to tell you this. I try a couple junipers, and here going on. Them thing hard. They're not easy.
Because when I started with junipers,
Yeah.
I tried everything in the book. I lost thousands of dollars purchasing junipers. I reached a point where I had to push myself to try and propagate them now.
Right.
It's a long process. It
Yeah.
takes a little while, but in the end of the day, after all the years, I get the hang of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It comes back to what I usually say. Try something. Try something. You mightn't get the hang of it first time, second time, third time. But keep trying. And that is what I am doing. I keep trying different things. Weekly or whenever, as often as I possibly could. So guys, we were with Errol today, and we had to look at the man garden.
Not a gardener.
Well, I go call it a garden. He ain't calling it a garden, he calling it a forest. And you all will understand why. You have in your hand here, sorry about the bad camera work, guys. You have in your hand here 2 of your smaller pieces of work, out of your many pieces of work. And we have here styrax, and we have here a juniper, right? This styrax is in what particular informal? This is what you call, for the people that don't know, and we urge you to do your research, go up on the internet, check it out. This is what you call an informal style bonsai. The styrax is styled in an informal, and this juniper, let me get in here, and as you can see, it looks like a plant on top of something that has passed on. This is a particular style called, Errol, give me the name of this style.
Tanuki or
Right.
Phoenix graft.
Right, so this style is called a Tanuki or a Phoenix graft, and these are just 2 of the varying styles that there are in bonsai, and two of the varying trees that Errol have. All you hear what going on? This thing real serious. This wee papa yo. Eh? So guys, we're taking a little walk here into Errol's garden, and what I'm touching here is something that is not indigenous to Trinidad and Tobago. It is called a black pine, Japanese black pine. This is not indigenous to here at all. This grows in the mountainous region, correct? This grows in the mountainous regions in the States and Canada and so forth, and Japan. And Errol has been able to successfully grow one here. How old is this tree, Errol?
I have it about 4 or 5 years now. I got it from a old bonsai master.
Right.
I think he probably had it from seed maybe 10 years or more.
Wow. So this is a pretty old.
Yeah.
This is a pretty old guy. Japanese black pine in Trinidad. Wow.
But these are about 4 years old from seed.
So you grew these from seed?
I received the seedling. Right. And it grew. This is about 4 to 5 years old.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing though. This is a small leaf Chinese elm. And this is in a root over rock?
Yeah.
This is in a root over rock style. Only look at this gorgeousness now. Wow. On average, how old is this one? This plant?
About 15 years. When I started, it was a little twig.
Yeah.
About 15 years.
And that's another thing. You know, with regards to bonsai. The level of patience you had to exercise. Tell me something, before you started bonsai, you had this level of patience, or you developed this level of patience over time? You had it? Yeah, I learning it. I being honest, I learning the patience, because you know sometimes you want to see something happen now. Right. Or you want to see it happen as close to now as possible.
But remember, bonsai is not something you do now.
Right.
And have something in a week or month. That's why when you get into bonsai, when you have, let's say, 5 or 6 plants,
right,
you will lose interest fast.
Yeah.
Because you're too anxious. You don't have the patience to wait on it. The best thing to do is to keep collecting plants.
Right.
Where the amount you have will end up being a lot. So
and you will have a lot you will always have something to work with.
You will be studying why this plant taking so long to grow. I don't have nothing to work on, you know. The more plants you have,
the better. Now, for the folks like me who has limited space, I mean, you all see my setup. I try my best to, make room for that kind of thing. And Errol is not the first person that I've heard say that. Bonsai is not a sport or an art form. You pick up one plant and you say, well, right, I'm a bonsai specialist, because you can't work on that plant every day. You can't. You cannot. And you have to allow time for the plant to grow. It's a lot of work over time. The refinement of a tree and that kind of thing. Look, I have here, I believe this is a olive.
Yeah, olive.
This is the olive that we eat?
This is the olive. From what I was told, back in the days, the Muslim people use it for brushing teeth.
Right.
It has a mint flavor to it.
Oh, serious?
And some people use the leaf to make tea. It has a lot of medicinal benefits from it.
Right. This is another olive here. And as you can see,
those are the fruits on it.
Look, the fruits here. Well, you know how to get one of this, right? Aye. Look at this ficus. This is microcopper.
I call it the retusa.
The retusa.
Or the other name is Long Island fig.
All right. So
Long Island ficus. But
this is the oval leaf, because as you can see, the shape of the leaf oval, and the name for this is the retusa or island fig. And all you're seeing, look at this. Now this plant is very old. Just by looking at it, you can see that this plant has a lot of age on it. This is over, what, 10 years old?
I started this back in 99.
Wow.
1999.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a long, long time. They call this the ironwood. And look at the beauty in the trunk. I find this trunk it resembles the trunk from a guava tree.
Yeah.
It resembles the trunk from a guava tree.
But it's very hard.
This is as hard could get. If you have one of these, or you get one of these and you get it as a young plant, as a bonsai enthusiast, you need to start to shape this from young, because as it gets older, it is, as its name says, it's ironwood. It hard. It real hard, and you ain't bending that. Could tell me something with regards to this plant. If you have it and it already aged, you know, it matures like this, and you want to style it, would this be able to take, like, you know, there's a style where they make several small cuts. Notching is the word. Would this take to notching?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It will heal over fast.
Uh-huh. All right. So I learned something. There's a style in bonsai called notching. You could research it. That is where they place a series of small cuts along the trunk in order to bend it. And this is for thick trunks and plants that a little more on the mature side. And they want to, you know, give it a different style. That's what they do. Because why ain't bending that? Why and mankind ain't bending that? Sorry. man ain't bending that. Whee! So we're going down the line. Well, this tree is, whoa. Let me give all you a full monk view of this. This is called, what, Errol? Bird's tongue. I had one of this, it died. I had one and it died. How old is this guy?
Over 10.
Yeah. Dan, this
10,
was
over 10 to 15.
This was from what? From seed or graft?
From little cuttings.
From cuttings.
Everything you see here is done from cutting.
Wow.
Started from a cutting.
Wow. That's amazing though. That's, for me, Ole, I don't know about Ole.
The first plant I ever got was a little twig.
Right.
I had to let it grow for some years and started take cutting from there. And years after, it
wow.
just made plants.
And this is one of a few, because there's another one right here. I mean, I'm not gonna, well, he's gonna bring it up for you all to see. Whoa. And as you can see, let me just come in so that you can see the age and the maturity in this plant. This is amazing. This is amazing. Bonsai is not only about the plants, it's also about the soil and the pot and the, you know, the care. Everything in and around it is just as important. And This is a ficus, if I'm not mistaken.
Nerfolia.
Nerfolia. Planted in a pot made by
Maria.
Maria. Well, I'll go show you Maria just now, if Maria want to be on camera. But Maria is a very dear and close friend to Errol, and they have been also making pots in different styles. It's amazing as far as I'm concerned. And the plant that is in it, funny enough, Errol, this plant was always in this, or this is a recent pot?
This is a recent potting.
This is a recent potting. So this plant was somewhere before, and it just happened to take the shape of this.
In a regular plastic.
Yeah, that's another thing with bonsai. You have to be able. There's a particular what's the thing I'm looking for? You need to have a particular amount of foresight. Not everybody just have it all at once, but it has come over time with practice and that kind of thing. This is something that I am trying to develop. Perfect. Look at this piece of gorgeousness. Now, before we move on from this, earlier we were talking about possible workshops that you all were going to.
Well, our plan is to have a big show in either October or November of this year.
Right.
So in between then and now, we are supposed to have probably a few open workshops to the public, as well maybe a few displays
Right.
around the country.
And guys are gonna put the link of the society, the Facebook link of the society in the description below, so that you know you're free to go and join the society, see what's happening. You know, whether you're in Trinidad and Tobago, you're in the Caribbean, or whatever part of the world you're in. You know, this is open for all. We encourage all, you know, to join, support,